Hello, everybody. My name is Anthony Ornelas. I am the father of David and Joseph Ornelas and the husband of Veronica Ornelas. As you guys all know, there was an incident in Manteca at New Haven School regarding the kids on the bus. Um, there's been news coverage, there's been parents involved, and there's also been a lot of negativity from people who think that the bus driver was doing her job. I'm here to sit there and say that no, she was not doing her job. Okay. She was doing what she wanted to do. Okay. Period. The kids were on the bus for about 40 minutes sitting here at New Haven. Okay. Parents were at their designated spot waiting for their children to get home, to be dropped off so they can properly go home. And that never transpired. It never happened. Okay. During the time that we finally found out what was going on, this bus driver did get, from what I understand, instructions to finally take the kids home. She left the school and then decided to turn around and take the kids back to school. Okay. During that time that all this was going on, we still were not getting calls. Us parents were actually the ones calling the school and calling the school district to find out where our kids were at. Nobody was notifying us. Nobody was telling us what's going on. Nobody said anything about our kids being rowdy or loud. Nothing. Nothing was said whatsoever. Now, as parents, we get frustrated. We get scared. We get nervous. We don't know what's going on. Anything could have happened. Our kids could have been in a wreck. With today's society, there's a lot of stuff that could have happened. Okay. When we arrived at the school, my wife did turn around and yell and cuss at the bus driver with good reason. How else is a parent supposed to act when, her kids, with our kids are calling us on the phone and you hear kids in the background crying. You hear my son sitting here telling me that she refuses to let anybody off the bus. There's another student next to him that I hear yelling in the phone, talking about the bus drivers yelling at my 5-year-old son because he got an owie on his finger and he just wanted to let her know about it. And her words to him was, "I don't care." Okay. Now, it's my word against hers. Okay. But we know what we heard while my son had the phone. Okay. My wife also instructed my son to put the phone on speaker so that she could say something to the bus driver. Okay. Nothing. It was just more yelling on the bus and the bus driver's yelling. The kids at this point are getting scared. You hear them crying. All this is building up before we even get to the school. Okay. By the time we get to the school, our worry, anxiety, stress becomes anger. My wife focused that anger on the reason, everything was going on, and she let the bus driver know. She put the bus driver in her place regarding not just our kids, but all the kids on the bus. As you can also see in the video, there was one child that was still left on the bus. Okay. His mother was there to pick him up as well, and she closed the door. The mother turned around and saying, "This is my child. Open the door, open the door." The bus driver refused to open the door. My wife banged on the door. My wife finally walked away a little bit. The child was finally released. Okay. Now, granted, it should have never escalated this far. Okay. But one of the questions everybody has to ask is, if you look in the video, where was the staff? Where was the staff from school? Why wasn't the principal or teachers or anybody in the office outside trying to sit there and calm everything down, to check the well-being of my kids, of your kids, to see what kind of mind that the bus driver had at that time. Where were they at? School officials didn't come outside for nothing. Their reasoning was that they were going home or they weren't home. It doesn't matter. But obviously, even if they did go home, why would school officials go home when there's still a bus on the school property with kids in them? Why weren't they out there trying to find out what's going on? Okay? Why weren't they notifying the parents? Transportation department. Why wasn't there somebody there to find out what was going on by this time? I mean, the transportation is only about maybe 7 to 10 minutes away. Now, eventually they did send a bus out there to grab some of the kids off the bus to take them to their locations. But we're talking about 45 minutes later. Okay? So our kids are on the bus this whole time, hungry, having to use the restroom, stressing, scared, not knowing what's going on. All they know is that they want to go home. Now, we're talking about kids from the age of 5 to maybe 12 years old. Okay? These are babies. These are all babies, period. So, with me saying all this, man, I would like you all to sit there and really think about how you would act if that was your child on the bus. How you would have acted regardless of how they were acting on the bus. If they were misbehaving, if they were being loud, would you still think it would be okay for a bus driver to keep them on the bus that long? Would you still think it was okay that the school officials refused to get involved? Would you think it was okay that the bosses from the buses, supervisor from the bus school district, wasn't there to sit there and find out what was going on? There was nobody there except for the bus driver and these kids. And all these kids were talking about is how scared they were. Okay? After that, it doesn't even matter what the bus driver had to sit there and say. All that matters is that my kids, your kids, were scared. They were upset. Kids were getting off the bus crying. That's all that matters now. So the big question is, again, if these were your kids, how would you have reacted?